So today we're going to talk about insurance claims, and this was a topic that you brought up, and I think that it's very timely because we're going to be coming into the storm season soon.
Yes, sir.
Right? And when people's roofs get, they go through a storm, and maybe they're worried about whether or not they should take any action. I start seeing their neighbors, right? The houses, okay, well, so-and-so's roof's getting worked. This happened in my neighborhood. It's like, well, their roof's being worked on. Should I be checking something? Because sometimes you don't know there's a problem until it's kind of late.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when it comes to filing an insurance claim, one of the most important things I think that homeowners may consider first is this going to affect my insurance rate? You know what I'm talking about? It's
Yes,
like
sir, I do.
it's like with our car, we're all kind of conditioned. Well, if we file a claim, our insurance rate's going to go up, right? So, what can you say to that as far as if people are worried about filing an insurance claim?
Yes, that I can say that don't ever be worried about filing an insurance claim, regardless. I want to speak on, things people can do to protect themselves. Of course, can't get them any insurance advice, not a licensed insurance agent, but I have a lot of familiarity, a lot of experience with the after result.
Yeah, absolutely. So people might be worried about, so there's an act of God.
Yes, sir.
Issue, right? So natural disasters fall into that act of God category. So, and those types of things, they don't fall into the other categories where they're going to, like a dog bites somebody, right? Well, now that increases maybe the hazard of that house or that area or whatever. So insurance rates could go up, but when it comes to natural disasters, those fall under act of God. And typically, everybody has to check their own state, see what their laws are, but typically those don't cause the insurance rates to go up.
Oh, that's right, because that's a single incident, and it's not going to happen again. So, like in the reference to the dog, the dog is still there. You still have that liability.
Yeah, absolutely, right. Or if they're on the trampoline and they break their arm or something like that.
Yes, sir.
So I can totally understand that. Okay, so let's say a storm comes through, and it's inevitable, it's going to happen. Somebody within our earshot is going to experience a storm. What are some of the things they should be doing first off? If they're obviously, I think we should all be checking to make sure that our roof is good, right? So we do a visual. Are shingles still on the roof, or are we missing things? Are there shingles on the ground? Well, what kind of things should people be doing after a storm?
Yes, absolutely. Get a hold of whatever trade, whatever damage you've incurred. Find a contractor to come by and inspect it to see what the extent of your damage is. Make sure that it was certainly done by the hailstorm or whatever, or windstorm, and it wasn't something that shows that it was pre-existing or something like that maybe they just never noticed.
Okay, right. Well, I guess I could see where people might want to get pre-existing things taken care of on an insurance claim. Probably not a good idea. So when it comes to getting a roof inspection, if they have a legit concern, where should they go to get that roof inspection? Do they need to contact their insurance first, or can they just reach out to a contractor on their own?
Most contractors will come by and offer a free estimate. So at least, or a free inspection to go up there and see if you incurred damage. And then identify some of it, figure out the extent of what that storm happened to cause or that incident had caused, and go from there. And then the homeowner can decide at that point whether or not they need to go ahead and contact the insurance company and get a claim.
So what are they checking when they go up on the roof? Obviously they're checking the shingles, but what else?
It depends on the storm. And a lot of times though, like with wind is a big one. Might have had a big wind event 2 years ago. You don't get up on your roof, you don't know.
Right.
So that can be discovered at that time, and that's still something that was damage, and you can file a claim on. So it's just anything that's specific to, if it's like an asphalt shingle.
Right.
A hailstorm, it just leaves a small area that's impacted. What it does, the granules on top of that shingle are there to protect the asphalt on the shingle. So it will, even a small hail ding will compromise the integrity of that asphalt that's underneath.
Oh my gosh.
That's the protection. So,
what kind of damage is wind doing? Somebody would pick up on?
A lot of times it will crease. So you have all your different profiles, and they'll crease up. they'll blow up, and then once the wind's gone, they'll lay back down.
Oh,
But it will crease that asphalt, and same thing, granules will be gone. Now there's nothing protecting that asphalt, and it will.
well, and it ripped up through the nails or whatever else is holding it down,
Sure,
right?
absolutely.
So yeah, that's not a good thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so so shingles on the ground, if they can see, really, if they have a pretty good windstorm, it might be a good idea just to have a roof inspection done if they're free anyway, right?
Sure. Number one, that roof is protecting all of your belongings, all of your investment. That's what's protecting it. So if you ever have any concerns whatsoever that there might be some issues up there that are it might be causing damage, and you're not going to see for a couple of years. But any contractor will come by and take a look and tell you what you need and give you a good report. You know, no good reason for a homeowner to get up on their own roof.
No.
And it's dangerous. And,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're in your 20s, maybe, but I'm a 52, so it's
Right.
like I'm not getting, I'm not trying to be a baby here, but I'm not getting up on my roof. What about you, Greg?
I'm 37. I'm not getting on my roof either.
Right?
It's not going to happen.
It's like, because you think, okay, well, the slope doesn't look too bad. I can probably handle that. And you get up there and you're like, whoa.
Yeah,
So,
the getting up's fine. It's coming back down.
Yeah, right.
It's
so
scary.
I can tell you just based on the conversation, the fact that roof inspections are free, I'm going to be calling you guys when a good windstorm comes through, or you know what I mean. If it's pretty significant, I'm going to call you guys out for an inspection. Is that all right with you?
Yes, sir. I'd be glad to.
Okay,
glad to stop
good.
by.
All right, awesome. So when it comes to insurance policies, what kind of things should people be looking out for with respect to their policy?
There's so many different options on a homeowner's policy. So you need to do a little bit of research, have a very intelligent conversation with your agent. A lot of times, I think people will go in and their main focus is keeping the premium down low, that continual payment. But it's very easy to get into a situation where now you've signed up for a tremendous deductible. And then whenever you do need that insurance, then it's going to cost you out of pocket substantially. Real quick story, I'll make it really fast.
Sure.
So different market, got a customer, house is about $400,000 piece of property, real property. And they had insured it for $500,000, but they had signed up for a 5% deductible. When they did it, they thought that they were any claim and whatever that amount of that claim was going to be, they thought they would be responsible for 5%. That's not the way that goes. So they gave it with a hurricane. And so the roof was roughly $30,000. So that is 8% of the coverage.
Oh no!
But they had signed up on a 5%.
5% of
Their
500,000.
deductible, that's 5% of $500,000. So
That is not
of that
cool.
$30,000 roof, they were out of pocket $25,000.
That's crazy. I would have been livid.
That's tough.
Yes, sir.
Oh my gosh.
So that's one thing I was suggesting in our market here. We're going to have hailstorms,
Yeah.
obviously windstorms. We could get affected from wind from a hurricane, next one that comes and hits the Gulf. So it takes a little bit of time, but my only suggestion would be don't just stay focused on your monthly premiums. Make sure that you're weighing that against, because it's all a risk gambling
Sure,
type
absolutely.
deal. You're gambling that nothing's going to happen, or the insurance company gambles nothing's going to happen, and you're gambling that something might happen. That's why you have the insurance.
I still got to think that that's shady to do a
Yeah.
5% of. Oh no, that's 5% of the whole 500,000 every time you make a claim.
Yeah, and
So,
you want to talk about heartbreaking.
Oh
To
my
see
gosh.
Whenever you have someone who's been paying their premiums all these years, thought they had the coverage, but they didn't, and then all of a sudden they get hit with a disaster of some type, and now they've got to come up with a tremendous amount of money.
Yeah, that is not cool at
Yeah.
all.
Well, that's very telling for me. I tell you what, because when of course, being self-employed, we're shopping health insurance every single year, and one of the conversations we always have with our family is, in the event something crazy happens, what's your max out of pocket? And it just didn't even cross my mind think about that from a homeowner's insurance standpoint. what's the max out of pocket. So I think that's something real good, like you mentioned, that you're looking into.
Yeah, that's the question to ask. What's my max out of pocket?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and on a $30,000 claim, what's my max out of pocket? I would even break that down further. Okay, so now I'm paranoid. So thanks for that.
Yes, sir. You're welcome.
I appreciate that. Wow. Okay, so some common insurance mistakes made by homeowners. I think and this falls into that fear category about not filing a claim, which we touched on a little bit. And then not paying their deductible. So this was something that when I saw that, I was like, well, that's interesting because most people are going to pay their deductible. But what I learned was that you'll have roofing companies that will tell folks that, well, we'll just use part of what they're being paid to cover the deductible or whatever. Don't worry about the deductible kind of a thing. But when Patriots Roofing is dealing with folks and this issue of deductible comes up, how do you guys address that with the homeowners to make it clear that they have to do that?
Well, luckily now Texas enacted legislation in 2019,
Okay.
I believe, that actually it identified it as insurance fraud. But even before that statute, it was still insurance fraud. Insurance company, when you come in as a policyholder and you're trying to figure out what coverage that you want, the insurance company is, you're going to be responsible for this part. We're responsible for everything above and beyond that. So if there's any backdoor dealing over on this side, that's fraudulent against the insurance company because that's not the agreement the insurance company thinks that you have. But it was always unethical. It was always shady. Last couple of years, it's been verifiably against the law.
Okay,
and it's mostly aimed at the contractor. It's competitive. So if you have a contractor that comes in, number one, if he's offering you something like that, he's not just being generous. He has cut corners somewhere on your job to come back and try to give you this money. So just sniff it out.
Any talk of, hey, don't worry about your deductible. It'll be part of. If
they're not worried about fraud and they're not worried about violating the law, they're not worried about
your roof.
Yeah, and they're not worried about getting in your pocket somehow that you haven't been able to realize.
Right.
But you can tell they're more than willing to do so.
Yeah, and when people have experienced a big disaster, they're already traumatized and they're looking for help. And you get a nice smiling face saying, "Don't worry about this money because that's a
Yes,
trap."
Sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, it is they will prey on emotions because emotions are a motivator.
What about when it comes to accepting a denial? So let's say your insurance claim gets denied. There's what does it say about only 20% of denied claims are challenged? So there's an incentive on the insurance company's part to maybe just deny claims. I know not every insurance company does this. I'm not speaking bad about insurance companies, but it does happen, right? It's going to happen out there. But so if it's denied, it could be that, well, maybe the denial wasn't intentional. It's like maybe there was something that was missed in the process. So they should challenge a denial, at least in my opinion, and then be persistent, ask questions. And then there's the Texas Department of Insurance,
yes, sir,
which I'm sure you're very well aware of them. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to them. And then they can also help you with filing a claim. Or
questions, complaints. They have a complaint line. Phenomenal agency. Yes, absolutely. Reach out to the Texas Department of Insurance if you're not being treated fairly.
Do you know? Go ahead.
No.
Do you know if people can reach out to them to find out? Well, I was thinking of going with XYZ company. Do they have a bunch of complaints? Do they keep records of that kind of stuff? Is that made available to the public, or do you know?
I don't know. I don't fall under that realm.
Yeah,
but
no, you don't.
I need to find out. Yes, no, I do not know.
Right. Well, that's a topic of conversation anyway. All right, Kerry, so if people want to get a hold of you, what's a great way for them to do that?
PatriotsRoofing.net is our website. My phone number is 210-244-3165.
Awesome. And you guys are stationed out of Hondo, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you
yes,
service San Antonio, Divine, Comfort, just New Braunfels.
Yes, sir. Yeah, if you're in the 210 or the 830, give us a call.
All right. Awesome.